All right, we'll now be seeing late nights. So is there a motion for 10-minute speeches, unlimited questioning, and unlimited debate?
So moved.
All right.
Hello. This one. Yeah. Okay. So my name
Is
is.
there a motion for 10-minute speeches, questioning, and unlimited debate?
It's been a month and I'm still not used to it. I just have to do everything at once. It's Joey. So when it comes to like basic stuff, I have to raise my fingers and stuff like that. But then I'm just like, it makes it hard.
I had to take out my contacts.
Yeah, I can't. The first time I got there, somebody had to button my shirt down because I forgot. That's
Hello. Hello. All right, am I good? Ready? Okay. So hello, my name is Heather Rich. I am the executive director for Late Nights. Let me get down, and I will be doing the budget presentation. Okay, so first I want to talk about what Late Nights is. So Late Nights is a UCF agency in the Office of Student Involvement. Our purpose is to promote safe and unique entertainment options, community engagement, and genuine memories through campus events for all UCF students. We are a 6-member student exec board. We have the executive director, then our 5 volunteer council, which includes the special events, programming, marketing, communication, and engagement directors. We host monthly large-scale events from our special events director, and these are typically hosted on Friday and Saturday at night. We also host around 2 to 3 small-scale events per month that our programming director hosts, which these are a wide range of times, but we do try to make them consistent. We range our events from large-scale magic shows in our haunted trail on campus called Fright Night, to small-scale bi-weekly coffee house hangouts and game nights. So, as everyone knows, UCF went totally virtual for summer of 2020. We thought it would be best to still provide students with entertainment and fun activities, even though it would be behind a computer screen. We came up with some fun events such as live game show, where they could win prizes virtual, bingo night, game night, and then caricatures, where they could be on a Zoom call and get their caricatures drawn. We started off this semester with a virtual Pegasus Palooza, which we had a virtual acrobatic show from Acrobatrix. Then the rest of the semester, CAB and Late Nights made the guidelines, the COVID guidelines for these events. So we could host them hybrid, and then also if it was in person, we had an RSVP. We did small-scale trivia nights and bi-weekly coffee house hangouts in the new Student Union Starbucks. We hosted our first large-scale events in October, which was our event Fright Night. And I will talk about these with the budget after this. In our mission statement, we really want to strive on community engagement with collaboration. So we feel that since we have a platform, we want to share it with others. We have partnered with CAB, Campus Activity Board, on multiple events. One of our biggest collaborations is Fright Night. CAB helps us increase attendance and provide better props. During the summer, we partnered with RHA UCF, which helped virtually because students were living on campus at this time, so they helped toward that. And then we also partnered with VUCF. We're planning to partner with Court, Diversified Greek Council, Knights of the Turntables, and then also CAB as well for the spring. So this is our plan for spring semester. We planned all of our spring events in advance so we can prepare for the budget. So in January, we have a late night tie-dye event, outdoor movie night, February glow night with CAB, Deal or No Deal game night, bi-weekly coffee houses start. And then March, we are planning a late night spring show, which we also might partner with Knights of the Turntables and DGC. And then we have a game night, bi-weekly coffee house hangouts. And then April, we are planning, before everyone leaves for the spring break, we are also planning a spring fest. Mangled. Now I want to go over the summer and fall events and the numbers we have this semester. So since summer was virtual, we did host virtual events for Summer B. We spent only $1,125 and averaged around 180 students all of July. We hosted 4 events and they were all successful for being virtual. Before fall semester, we had some students stay on campus, so we also provided them with some virtual events. Attendance was low, but we barely spent any of the budget, so that wasn't a big deal. In the beginning of fall semester, we staged virtual, which meant Pegasus Palooza was virtual. We had 200 students, which that was a great attendance for a virtual event for fall Pegasus Palooza. During August, like I said, CAB and I made safety COVID guidelines if Chance Pegasus Palooza was going to be in person. So we had those ready for September. We were told we were we're good to host for September for in-person, so we started doing that. We started small and just did small scale events. We spent $390.74 with attendance of a sum of 175 students. In October, we had our first large scale, so that was our Fright Night event. Our share was $5,617.59, and we had about 651 students. It looks crazy, but we had about 200 per hour, so in increments. We also did 3 small scale events in October for $487 with attendance of a sum of 105 students. As you can see, the cost per student is very low for these months. The last month of fall semester, we had our second large scale event, which was an outdoor magic show. We spent around $5,264.59 and had about 70 students in person and 90 virtual. So that was a hybrid event. But this did lead to a big cost per student, but since the semester we had a low cost per student, it wasn't that big a deal. We also had 2 small scales, which would cost about $77 and had a sum of about 56 students. Okay, so now I want to talk about what we are requesting. So Late Night is requesting a total of $62,946.80. And then we also are asking for a new budget line for a small scale for programming. As someone who controls the budget, I feel like this will be easier to keep track. Before we had a budget of just the events, a total of the large scale and small scale. So I think separating it would be the best. So in comparison, the OPS was $9,588, with student directors getting paid $10 an hour for 20 hours a week. Since the state of Florida increased minimum wage, we are asking for an increase to $11 for 20 hours a week, which is a $958.50 increase. As I said before, Late Nights wants a new budget line. That means that the special events will decrease $3,000, but programming will increase that $3,000. It was included into the special events, but we are asking for it to be separate. We had a pretty successful semester with the budget, even with COVID. So we don't feel a need to increase budget anymore. Now I want to go through each of the budget lines. So OPS will be given to the executive director. The executive director oversees the operation and functions of Late Nights and also manages the 5 volunteer student directors. They also create room reservations and controls the budget. So the executive director controls the operation budget. The operation budget includes office supplies, getting uniforms, and then training and development retreats, and also NACA Live, where we go every February, I think, to a conference, yeah. So here is some pictures. So this was the board, on the left was on the board that went to NACA Live this year, actually on February 22nd to the 27th, right before COVID hit. We also are going to attend in the spring semester as well, but it will be virtual. It's a great resource for event planners and all directors to learn leadership skills at sessions and to learn about more performers that are available. And then the right rota is me with my polo on, which is also included in the budget. Next is special events. It is our large-scale budget. It is utilized by the special events director. This includes entertainment, our food and drink, which we do have a Coca-Cola contract, and then any event-specific merchandise, which we are requesting $45,500. Oh, and then here are some pictures. So on the left was our virtual Pegasus Palooza. We brought acrobatics. Oh, okay.
Move to extend the presentation by 3 minutes?
Okay, sorry. Almost done. These are just pictures from Fright Night and then our Joel Myers show. So programming, this is the one we are asking for. So this is our small scales, which our programming director will utilize. It includes our coffee house hangouts, game nights, and trivia nights. Here are some pictures as well from coffee house. I'll go fast through that. And then marketing. This will be utilized by our marketing director. This is just general promotional items and late night branding. Being ordered for spring 2021, we're looking for fanny packs, more hand sanitizers, and then a plushie for marketing purposes. And then that's it. Sorry. Any questions?
Question? But if you do have a question, just feel free to say so in the chat. Again, so this is all for virtual panelists. All right. So I don't see any questions from virtual panelists. So yeah. So now we'll be taking everybody from physically, and I see Steph is.
Should I just say it now?
Yeah, you can say it.
Okay. Hi, Heather. I just have a quick question just to clarify. So what made you separate the special events of the programming? Because I see it was just like under events. So just to clarify for the entire committee, what made you separate the two?
So it's a lot easier to control the budget when it's separated because small scale has a lot of tedious items that they buy, while large scale has like the artists. So we try to separate those two so it's easier to, so the directors it's easier to control their own budget as well. $3,000 was in the events budget already, so I kind of already separated them, so I just think it'd be easier with two budget lines. If that makes sense.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah.
Ready to go to debate?
Okay. Is there a motion to go to debate? Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now there. Yeah.
Okay, so some background context, just so y'all can kind of understand why the budget is not, I would say low in comparison to other agencies is, late nights was zero funded, I think, 6 years ago. And I will say out of the 4 years I've been on this committee, we've always upped their budget because they've done such a phenomenal job with the amount that they've been given. And I am always impressed by the amount of work and just the quality of events that y'all do. I will say your promo items are also my favorite. Y'all are very creative with those. Since they didn't ask for any increase and they don't see any need for it, I'm comfortable approving it as is, but I really just want to give y'all a shout out for just how much amazing stuff y'all have done over just my time being at UCF. So thank you.
Anybody else? If not, I will motion. Yeah.
Move to approve lines, what are the lines?
It's 57, 60.
Move to approve lines 57 to 60?
61.
61.
All right, there's been a motion to approve budget lines 57 through 61. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now on voting procedures. All in favor? Against? With a vote count of 13 to 0 to 0, these budget lines have been approved. So, Roe.
Move to approve late nights as a whole.
All right, there's been a motion to approve late night's overall budget as a whole. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now on voting procedures. All's in favor? All's against? And all's abstaining? Vote count of 13 to 0 to 0. The overall budget has been approved. And then another thing, just housekeeping, I guess, or some things to keep in mind. I've already reiterated, but I have put in the agenda now. So again, I will be stopping like all debate regarding budget changes that are below 1% of the overall total budget. So in that 1% would be anything under $207,000. So anything below that, and debate has gone more than a minute and it's been kind of elongated, I will kind of jump in to stop that. So just to keep in mind about that. Yeah, Sarah.
Would you mind speaking a little bit closer into the mic? Because I feel like on Zoom, I can barely hear you from back here, but I feel like on Zoom it might be hard. The mask makes it muffled. Is there a reason why? So
yeah, I'll try to speak. Is this better?
that's fine.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. It's better that I don't want people to not hear me muffled. But okay. So wanted to say something else. Oh yeah, another thing. I put it like in the group meeting stuff. So I did make that budget request tracker that kind of keeps track of the changes and has notes of it's specifically detailed what the changes are from what budget lines and stuff. And I kind of did that last week. And this is, feel free to look at this while we're going through the presentations. I personally think it's helpful, and also you can add notes and background information on that at your disposal. And I think it could help other committee members to just follow along. So, just to throw that out there. But other than that, I think we're good to go. So the next so is set to be next. Now we're running a little late schedule, but these are online. So I apologize if I mispronounce your name, but I believe it's Zanab? Zani? So if the representative from Night Dawn is on the webinar or is online. Is a representative from Night Dawn on attendance?
everyone? Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. So I'm actually Madison Bittner. I'm here to present for you guys today. Let me just share my screen real quick. And I am the executive director for Nighthon this year. So Nighthon is our dance marathon here at UCF, and it is UCF's largest student-run philanthropy. So just a little background. Our mission is to educate, empower, and unite our campus and community to provide ongoing support for Orlando Health Arnold Palmer Hospital for Children. Through raising funds, spreading awareness, and fostering relationships, we strive to provide hope, healing, and compassion for the kids of our community. And in case you don't know, Orlando Health Arnold Palmer Hospital for Children is right in our backyard at downtown Orlando. So a little bit more of who we are. We are over 2,000 students from various student organizations, Greek Life, student government agencies, UCF offices and departments, and so much more. We provide UCF students with an outlet to leave a lasting impact on the community by creating opportunities to raise funds and awareness for our hospital.
I'm texting her right now.
Whoops. Can you guys hear me okay?
No.
I think it's a little delayed. But so about the dance marathon movement, we are over 300 colleges and universities across North America that participate in dance marathon. Nighthon is one of the largest dance marathons in the nation. Last year, we were able to raise over $865,000 for our hospital. So far this year, our 2020 programming has looked a little bit different because of COVID. We actually ended last year with a virtual main event. So normally we host a 20-hour main event in the arena, but this year, because of COVID, we actually had to shift it virtually within 2 to 3 weeks. So we didn't have much time, but we were still able to engage all of our students. We had over 2,000 people join us virtually. We released videos in an order we normally would do. So in our actual physical main event, kind of, representing the same thing, we had interactive activities for people. So we did have a Zoom class, silent disco over Zoom, fun things like that. And we still had our fundraising pushes. So we really did as we could virtually as we would in person. This year, we've also had a 5K. This was virtual as well, so students could participate from anywhere. They shared their journey with us on social media, and we also provided each runner with a little runner's bag to get them through the 5K. We also had our Champions Challenge, which is our biggest fundraising day in the fall. This year, we were able to raise over $50,000 in one day. We celebrated a family in our hospital virtually through Zoom calls, social media, and we provided each of our organizations with a preparation basket for the day to kind of get them excited. So a little bit about our history. You can see here throughout the years, our numbers have grown. Last year, we had over 2,000 people participate in Nighthon. So last year we had over 2,000 people participate in Nighthon, and we had over 100.
Yeah, hey, Madison, can you stop talking for a second? So, what was that?
Are we good with the XLR? Yeah. They should hear it. Okay, now you can talk and then we'll probably.
Can we try to start over?
Okay,
Yeah.
am I good?
we have to start.
All right.
It's something we're doing.
Hey, Madison, so unfortunately, we were unable to hear the first portion of your presentation. The audio kind of cut off. So if you are able to just restart, I think we'll be able to hear you now. No problem. So do apologize. Kind of had some little technical difficulties, but so if you can hear me, if you can just go through the presentation again, that'd be great. So sorry.
Alrighty, is this better now?
Hold on. We're getting her out.
Should I go ahead and restart?
Okay. Madison, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Did you catch the first part where I said that if you can restart? Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Do you want me to go ahead and restart for you?
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Okay. So again, I'm Madison Bittner, the executive director here at Nighthon. And Nighthon is UCF's largest student-run philanthropy. So our mission is to educate, empower, and unite our campus and community to provide ongoing support for our children at Orlando Health Arnold Palmer Hospital for Children. Through raising funds, spreading awareness, and fostering relationships, we strive to provide hope, healing, and compassion for the kids of our community. So a little bit about who we are. Over 2,000 UCF students from various student organizations, Greek life, student government agencies, UCF offices, departments, and more participate with us every year. We provide UCF students with an outlet to leave a lasting impact on the community by creating opportunities to raise funds and awareness for our hospital. The Dance Marathon movement, there are over 300 colleges and universities across North America that participate in Dance Marathon, and Nighthon is one of the largest in the nation. Last year, we were able to raise over $865,000 for the kids. So our programming this year has looked a little bit different because of COVID. We actually ended our previous year with a virtual main event. In case you don't know, Nighthon normally ends their year at the end of March with a 20-hour event that goes on in the AF Arena. And this year, because of COVID, we actually had to transition virtually within like 2 to 3 weeks. We made the transition from a 20-hour in-person event to virtual. With this, we were still able to bring the same feeling and kind of emotion that comes with main event to virtual. We released videos. We were able to have interactive activities such as Zumba, a silent disco, different things like that. And we were still able to have our fundraising pushes. So we tried to emulate what an in-person event would feel like online within like 2 to 3 weeks. And we still had over 2,000 people join us virtually, which was really exciting. Recently, we've had our 5K, so we gave UCF students a weekend to complete this virtual 5K wherever they were. They shared their journeys with us on social media, and we provided each runner with a runner's bag. We also had our Champions Challenge, which is our biggest fundraising day in the fall semester. This year, we were able to raise over $50,000. It was virtual as well, and we celebrated our family in the hospital through Zoom calls and social media. And we provided each of our teams and organizations with a preparation basket for the day. That way they felt prepared for this biggest fundraising day. So just a little look at our history. As you can see, our numbers have grown. So last year we had over 2,000 people participate with us. And we had our highest teams registered, which was 140 teams last year. Last year, our fundraising did take a little bit of a hit because of COVID. Normally, the last few weeks leading up to our main event is when we see the biggest fundraising numbers come in. So because COVID was just hitting and everybody was in different situations, the fundraising wasn't as much as it normally is. So this is our budget summary for this year, which we will go through in the next few slides. So for main event, this is our biggest portion of our budget, which is $38,000. A majority of that does go to renting out the arena and our production and lighting. We do work with CAB for our main event to make sure it is the best that it can be for our participants. We do have $1,000 for event operations. A big portion of it too is our event entertainment. We bring in different activities, and sometimes we have like magician or hypnotists that come. We've done inflatables, just different ways to entertain our participants throughout these 20 hours. And then we do have our catering, which is $3,000, because having people there for 20 hours, we need to make sure we are feeding them. Next up, we have our special projects. Our special projects we have throughout the year, and this is to focus on spreading awareness and have some more student engagement so people can learn a little bit more about us and get involved. We have our 5K for the kids. Each year we try and do a new event, which is where the 550 comes from. We have our Champions Challenge, which again is our largest fundraising day of the year. And then in the spring, we normally have a Color Wars event. So the 5K and the Color Wars are our bigger special projects in the fall and in the spring. So that's a total of $3,500. We have our operations budget. So team development / retreats, $1,000. We have our office supplies, 1,350. These office supplies are the most random things, but they are needed for our main event to make sure that it is, again, the best experience possible. So from getting posters and poster board to tape and a ton of markers and Sharpies and, labels so we can give everybody a hospital band, manila envelopes, all sorts of random things go into that. Our uniforms, advertising and promotion. Each year, DMLC, which is the Dance Marathon Leadership Conference, that $2,500 is for travel and our stay there. This year it was virtual, but next year they're hoping to have it back in person. And then our Nighthon event shirts. So normally at our main event each year, we give our participants a main event shirt. And then lastly, the student director, as you guys probably know by now, they're upping it to $11 an hour. So for Nighthon, having 45 weeks a year, that would be $10,098. So our total budget would be $66,348. As you can see here, the only increase we are asking for is for the student director, which again would go to the executive director who, leads the whole Nighthon. So does anybody have any questions?
If anybody again has any questions from our virtual panelists, we'll start with that. If anyone's got anything, now is the time. If not, we'll just go to anybody physically here. Doesn't look like anyone, so I'll take questions from the committee members present. So if anyone has anything for Nighthon regarding the presentation, increase. Oh, yeah.
Move to go to debate.
Go to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now there. Yeah.
Very much in favor for this budget. I think it's very realistic and they've kept it consistent and taken into account the virtual events from last year and the in-person events from year prior. And I think they've done a great job with their fundraising efforts in the past few years to really support our local Orlando community. And obviously the only change is the OPS based on what was just passed for the state of Florida. So I'm highly in support of this.
Yeah, so.
Move to vote on lines. Joey, can you tell me the lines?
Yeah, it's 50 to 54.
50 to 54. Motion to approve lines 50 to 54.
All right, is there a motion to vote on budget lines 50 through 54? Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now on voting procedures. All those in favor? All those in favor? All those against? All those abstaining? Great, with the vote count 13 to 0, these budget lines pass. So now take a motion to vote on the whole as a whole.
Move to approve Nighthon's budget as a whole.
Yep. Approve Nighthon's budget as a whole. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now on voting procedures. All those in favor? Okay. All those against? And all those abstaining? With the vote count of 12 to 0, congratulations, your budget has been approved. Thank Thanks so much for bearing with us. Action as well. Have a great rest of your day. So, Valera, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Valera, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna share my screen. Hi, everyone. My name is Valeria Hansen. I am the student director for Volunteer UCF, and I'm really excited to be able to present our 2021 to 2022 budget proposal to you all, and hopefully let you know a little bit more about VUCF and ABP and the work that we do. So just to get started, Volunteer UCF is an agency located within OSI. The gist of it is that we provide volunteer opportunities to the UCF student body. We do this by working with community partners here in the local Orlando area. And then we also have social topic directors that plan and execute these events throughout the course of the year. So this year we have 12 social topics. They range from everything from arts and recreation to animal awareness to, I was the youth and mentoring director when I first started. So we have a lot of different ways for students to get involved just based off of their interests, and hopefully they can grow in their interests. Each director has a minimum of 5 service events that they have to facilitate per semester, in addition to 1 educational event. So that means that we tend to have 50 to 70 events minimum, but frequently during more traditional semesters, we have directors that will go above and beyond and do more. And we're also really proud to be able to work with lead scholars, GEB. We work with different sororities, clubs, classes to be able to provide students their service hours. And at the end of the day, we try and do this all by promoting active citizenship and education through various social issues. So that's a really big component of the work that we do. Our goal is really to have students become active members in their communities. So we get a lot of volunteers that come in at the member or volunteer stage. I have the continuum here in the slide because it's really important to what we do. And our goal is really just to have them become active citizens or to put them on that path. Next, I want to talk about the alternative break program. I think that if VUCF is one side of the coin, ABP is the other, where we do some local direct service. They take their service on international and domestic trips and go into other communities and do some service work there. So they do this over designated school holiday breaks. So winter break, MLK Day, spring break, and students do pay a reduced cost to attend, but it's like severely reduced. For example, to volunteer with Habitat for Humanity in New Orleans for a week would be $250 for a student, with everything included from lodging to food to, you know, the community partner to travel. So we've found that it's a really highly immersive program because they're spending an extended period of time in this community. And because of that, it's really high impact and students get a lot out of it. And then again, we do, you know, we promote active citizenship and education through all of this. So some statistics for you all, and I've included information from the last school year just because I think that that's more reflective of what a traditional year looks like for us. So for 2019 to 2020, we had 135 participants total, 12 unique experiences. We did 1 international trip to Costa Rica and then 11 domestic trips.
And then this year, we decided, due to the travel restrictions, to make them entirely virtual immersion experiences that were completely free to students. So this year this semester, we're actually running 7 programs alone. And some of these programs are actually ongoing right now. We have an environmental awareness one that's going on right as I'm speaking. And then for Volunteer UCF, we have last year, by this point in time, we had 99 events in Night Connect. And for the total year, we were able to input over 8,000 service hours for students. And then for this year, we have 60 events by this point in time. 35 were virtual, 25 were in person, and then we've been able to input over 1,100 hours. And I know that that's kind of a change from last year, but I also think it's important to mention that a lot of the work that we do relies on community partners, and our community partners and Orlando in general was hit pretty hard by COVID. And so it was a little difficult trying to plan, and I'm actually really proud of all of our directors for pulling through with all of their events. But I just wanted to kind of give you some context. I have some pictures here too. The picture on the, I guess for me it's the left, but picture for me on the top left is them working to build walkways on an ABP trip. And the picture to the right of that is one of our events for our I think it was last year's Knights Give Back event. So that was really successful. That was working with OCPS. And then the bottom picture is actually from this year, from our Pegasus Palooza event. We were making masks to donate to the Hope Community Center in Apopka. So some signature components, we have 12 social topics that I've mentioned, educational events, ABP. We have our 3 large scale events. So Pegasus Palooza, Knights Give Back, Spring into Service. These are events that you might recognize more. Then we have Hunger Banquet, hosted by our Hunger and Homelessness Director, Active Nights in Service, which was previously Active Citizenship Week, and that takes place in March by ABP. And then we have MLK Day of Service, hosted by our Civic Engagement Director. How we operate, this is just a breakdown. We have 4 paid positions. So it's the Volunteer UCF Student Director, and then it's the VUCF Assistant Director, the ABP program, or the ABP Student Director, and then the ABP Assistant Director. And so you can kind of see how we're a little separated. So I'm gonna go through each one. For the VUCF side, we have 12 social topic directors that I mentioned, and then we also have an additional marketing, public relations, and special events director, and that special events director hosts Pegasus Palooza, Knights Give Back, all of those large scale events. And then they each have 1 to 2 committee members per issue. And then on ABP side, we have coordinators who are basically the equivalent of directors. And then they have marketing, outreach, special events. And that special events director does info sessions and lottery nights, which is basically how we get participants. And then, and this number was taken from last year, but last year in total, we had 135 participants. So we're fortunate enough to be able to work directly with 35 to 45 student leaders as an agency. OPS, this is getting into kind of like the budget breakdown. We're asking for the base minimum wage increase across the board that every agency is asking for. But we are also asking for an increase in the hours per week of our assistant directors. It was previously 8 hours per week, and we're asking to move it up to 10. I think it's really reflective of the workload that they have. Student directors in general do a lot of big picture planning, a lot of long-term work, but our assistant directors take the brunt of day-to-day activities, managerial duties, checking with directors all the time. And so we feel like 10 hours is really reflective of that workload. So overall, with the minimum wage factored into it, that's an increase of $5,129. And that I also want to mention is the only change that we're asking for throughout our entire budget. For operations, we're asking to keep everything the same. There's no change to this. For our large scale events, these are for things like Pegasus Palooza, Knights Give Back. Traditionally, what that event looks like is we get a bunch of students in one spot, like Memory Mall or the arena, and then we bus them out, and it's usually hundreds of students, and we bus them out to different locations so that they can volunteer at the same time at different social issues. So this is pretty reflective of what that is. We end up feeding them as well for breakfast and lunch because it's a really long event, and typically the volunteer work that they're doing is pretty strenuous and it's kind of labor intensive. And then I included some photos. So again, that was the mask making event that President Cartwright attended. And then the bottom right is actually a virtual event that we hosted for Knights Give Back that I was able to lead, which I was really pleased by, and that was really fun. So thought I'd throw that in there. Again, no changes. And then alternative break program. I know this number looks like a lot. It's 82,500, but actually there is a revenue there of 50,000. And we set our revenue really high, but we also never really, I don't think we've ever had to dip into it at all. And what we really end up asking for is $32,500. That goes toward lodging, travel, registration with the community partner, paying for food, paying for any incidentals that happen on the trip. And so we want these events and these opportunities to be accessible for students. So that $32,500 is actually used to offset the cost of student participant fees. I don't know how many of you are familiar with kind of like flights and travel and kind of like things associated with that. But for example, a trip to Costa Rica with everything included to volunteer would be $550 for a week. So we really take the brunt of those costs in order to make them more affordable for our student body. And so again, I have some pictures from some ABP trips, and we're not asking for any overall changes. And then for social topic directors, we have this budget for service and educational events. I should note this budget is split between 12 social issue directors. And this is so that they can plan service events, so that they can plan educational events. Sometimes it goes to food, sometimes it goes to keynote speakers. We had an event once where the director realized we were doing waterway swamp kind of like restorations, and the director realized that volunteers were getting their shoes really wet and it was really uncomfortable for them and it was ruining them. So we actually went ahead and made the purchase for water shoes that we can use consistently throughout the years. So that's an example of one of the ways we would use that budget. Again, not asking for any changes. And then for marketing initiatives, we have handbills, posters, banners. These are all for events that are pretty case-by-case basis. And then we have some promotional items that, you know, we hand out to the student body at either traditionally in-person tabling, or we've been doing a lot of like raffle giveaways and just like things to try and incentivize students to attend these in-person and like virtual volunteering opportunities. So we had some bamboo reusable utensils, pop sockets, clear drawstring bags, and fanny packs so that they can take these to the football games. And I should also mention that this budget is also split between VUCF and ABP. So, you know, really each of us takes like half of it for the year. And again, we're not asking for any changes. I hope I didn't speak too fast, but I would be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Presentation. So now we'll be seeing questions, and on the agenda, I believe the first one. This one, first question.
I deleted mine because I misunderstood. Actually,
Okay, you.
I'll just clarify. So the VUCF directors are $11 an hour, right? That's what it's moving up to? Okay. The math in the PowerPoint had made me think it was like up to $12, so that's why I was very confused. That's the only thing.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's $11. It's the same as every agency.
Yeah, you're good.
Cool. Also, I mean, no one has any questions specifically to budget changes, maybe historical background or anything unique that was shown in the PowerPoint. Always great. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your presentation. I just had a quick question. I know you said that it's 32,500. The actual total with the 50,000 that's being given to Volunteer UCF. Can you just talk about where the revenue comes from, like the usual organizations that donate to Volunteer UCF?
Yeah, of course. So that 50,000 is revenue that we get from student costs. So basically, if students want to attend one of these trips, it depends on how long the trip is and how far away it is. So weekend domestic trips are $100. Week-long domestic trips are $250, and I believe week-long international trips are $550. So that's kind of where we get our revenue from. We set it pretty high just in case we're able to accept new students. We set it pretty high just in case we're able to like have new events. But we never reach that 50,000, but we never overspend over the 32,500. So it all ends up going back to the university.
Thank you.
All right. Don't see any more questions. Oh, okay.
I was going to make a motion. No debate.
All right, there's been a motion to go to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now there. And for the committee's information, these are budget lines 175 to 190 that we're looking at. And the increase requested is solely for OPS, which would be the $5,129 would be the only. So Sabrina?
May I retain?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to commend VUCF for an incredible semester. And again, just like all the other agencies, adapting to a virtual setting. And congratulations on the amount of service hours you all accomplished this semester. I think that's absolutely incredible in a time of COVID, and really reevaluating as an individual and saying how important it is to promote community service and giving back to the Orlando community. So I commend you on your great work. So I am highly in favor of this budget. And I want to move to vote. Can you remind me of the budget lines?
Yeah, it's 175 to 190.
And I'm going to move to approve budget lines 175 to 190.
All right, there's a motion to vote on budget lines 175 to 190. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now in voting procedure. So all those in favor, and all those against, and all those abstaining. One, please. With a vote count of 12 to 0, these budget lines have been approved. So, yep, so.
Move to approve VUCF as a whole.
All right, there's been a motion to approve VUCF as a whole. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now in voting procedures. All those in favor? All those against? And all those abstaining? Same vote count. So with a vote count of 12 to 0, congratulations. Your budget has been approved.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I know everyone at VUCF does too.
What is the last one? Yeah, Kate.
Joy, there's a little bit of a discrepancy that Brenda and I found in regards to Nikon's budget.
Okay.
It's off $198, so I don't know if you want to address that now or do that a little bit later, but Brenda and I can point out where the discrepancy is.
Okay.
They didn't include fringe benefits in
10
there.
minutes for lunch, so I mean, yeah, you want to, yes, kind of explain what I'm substitute.
Brenda, do you want to pull that number up? Their OPS for Nikon should have been 10,098 because what they didn't include is they didn't include the fringe benefits in the spreadsheet.
Oh, okay.
So they're off a little bit. So you just have to make that minor adjustment.
Okay. So to clarify, so it would be, so you bump up the 9,900 to that, to 10,000.
It's $10,098. So it's $198 increase.
Okay.
Just a minor adjustment.
Yeah. So I'll see that too.
We have to go back to Nikon.
Alright, motion to go back to Nikon, rejections? Seeing none, we're down there. Yeah.
Move to amend the total OPS cost to, 10,000? Yeah, that, 10,090.
Okay. There's been a motion to amend Nikon's OPS cost from $9,900 to $10,098 for the rejection. Seeing none, we're now voting procedures. All those in favor? All those against? All those abstaining? Vote count is 12 to 0 to 0. This has been changed. This has been amended to 10,098. Okay. Thanks so much for that.
We have to move to approve it as a whole. Joey, we have to move to approve it as a whole again.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna approve, I guess, the line first and then that, since we could change the line, I guess. Move to approve, or reapprove line 50 and 54.
Can you say that one?
Move to wait, we have to change that number down at the bottom to total to reflect it. Do we need an amendment for that?
No, I think it's a little updated.
That's a technical, right?
I mean,
I think it's already
updated.
On mine, it didn't say anything, it just said the same number, so. No say.
What was the original cost for OPS for them?
They included the fringe benefits.
What was
in
the
that
first, what was the first cost for OPS for them?
It was, yeah,
Okay, I did not hear that at all.
9,900 was the original,
line. And now it's 10,000.
Okay.
10,098, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. for fringe benefits. And then I guess the totals are technical. And then I made a motion to approve lines, or reapprove 50 and 54, since those were the only two that were amended or fixed. Make it easier on us.
Yeah.
So, one,
Move to reapprove lines 50 to 50, or 50 and 54.
right? Is there a motion to approve lines 51 to 54? Are there any objections? Seeing none, round of procedures, all in favor? All against? All abstaining? The vote count is 11 to 0. These lines have been reapproved. Yeah.
Move to approve Nikon as a whole.
There's a motion to approve Nikon as a whole. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now going to procedures. All in favor? All against? Abstaining? The vote count of 11 to 0. Nikon's budget has been approved, $66,303. So with that, we are 7:01 till noon. Yeah.
Just a question real
Yeah.
quick. Did we have full attendance at the beginning? Like, did we have like the entire committee at the beginning?
We did. We had all 16 members.
And we're only getting vote counts of like 12 and 13. So where are the other three, or I guess since we have an alternate, where are the other two people that should be voting this whole time?
Yeah, so I know, with Barry, I believe, who was the alternate, he reached out to me after, I think, when Nikon had to present, yet he's driving currently in South Carolina. He's driving back to
Carrie
this.
doesn't have to vote because he's really just here just in case one of us steps out.
Yeah.
I'm not concerned about him so much. I'm concerned about
I mean,
the
you
other
want me
two
to like
people.
call out? Who-
I don't know who's not voting. I can't see that. I'm asking.
When we return, we need to do reattendance, obviously, and make sure that everybody's voting.
Yeah.
Because we started the day off with having 14 votes and now we're down to 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're not sending in time or there's something wrong with the chat feature, but let's make sure that everybody's voting. That way we're consistent throughout the day.
I heard you should bring it up. Thank you. Thank you.
Same thing.
There's no
with the
need to
Senate.
call anybody out now,
Yeah, that's
I would say, but let's
Yeah, I
just.
just got when we get back, just so we can keep in mind.
Yeah. Definitely good to do that. But yeah, so we are scheduled to watch it. We do have to pick up the scotches real quick from Bank Services, which is just over there. But everybody who's, getting back here, so the all of you, that you were, just, will be, catered options are available from the student union. So yeah,
Move to recess until, was it 1?
Yeah.
Move for recess until 1 p.m.
Okay, is there a motion to recess until 1 p.m.? Are there any objections? Seeing none, you're now adjourned. Until then. We're now in recess.
Motion for Brian to stop emailing me.
Is it like safe to leave our laptops here? Yeah, can
Yeah,
we leave our laptops here?
there'll be someone in here.
Okay. I was about to say, I really don't feel like lugging us around.
I mean, that's-
Yeah.
Pretty good. I like the shoes too.